P2B wins another voting intention poll with a wide margin. This is coming few days before the presidential election. Yes, the presidential election is upon us. All the waiting, all the campaigns, they are all coming to an end. The interesting thing about this latest voting intention poll conducted by Redfield and Wilton Strategies is the fact that 40% of the respondents who voted for Buhari in 2019 said they will be voting for P2B, while 38% say they will vote for Tinubu. This might finally put to rest the narrative that APC voters are intact, waiting for the election day to vote en masse for the APC candidate. Likewise, the same narrative that claims that P2B will only take votes from PDP and Atiku. Even Atiku himself pushes the narrative that the Labour Party doesn't have elected officials, which reduces the chances of, they just have many ways of pushing the false narrative. Although it has been known since the campaigns began that P2B enjoys widespread acceptance, but, politicians, they will always like to put themselves in good light. They need to keep sounding optimistic, otherwise they will lose followers. So it's not surprising that they push the narrative. Now, let's see the main issues that will determine how the respondents will vote on election day. The topmost issue in the mind of the voters is the economy. 67% chose economic development as number one priority that the incoming president should deal with. So they have it in mind they will vote for someone they think he has the capacity to achieve serious economic development. Next is corruption. 65% wants the new president to eliminate corruption completely. You can agree with this data that it reflects the opinion of many Nigerians. This also reflects on the motivation of people who voted for Buhari in 2015. Many did it because of their perception of Buhari that he will fight corruption. So it's not surprising that the same people are gravitating towards P2B, who they see as the best option in terms of fighting corruption. Also, P2B is known as a good manager of public resources. The third highest priority of intending voters is education. 57% wants the incoming president to take education in Nigeria to an enviable level, which will ultimately reduce the number of Nigerians schooling abroad. Next is employment and wages. 51% see this as their fourth topmost priority in this presidential election. This is not surprising because right now there is high unemployment in Nigeria and the wages are quite poor. So definitely voters will elect a new president that will make policies that will lead to massive job creation to reduce unemployment and also increase the wages. The current minimum wage can't last a week for entry-level workers, not to talk of a month. So wages and job creation should be a top priority because the higher the number of people working means the higher the number of people that will be spending their money. The higher the taxes the government can earn. When millions of Nigerians go shopping, the economy booms. No one will ever eat the money raw. Everyone must shop for something that they need. The more they do that, the higher turnover for salesmen and business people, their supply chain, the manufacturers. It's like a chain reaction. Job creation and wage increase is a top priority for many people. Now to the rest, you have security, power supply, health, inflation, transport, and many others. You see, when people try to downplay the many voting intention polls that P2B have won this election season, they will say that the sample size is small, that it doesn't reflect our population, that, many reasons that they give just because it's not in favor of their candidate. Yes, Redfield and Wilton Strategies is in faraway United Kingdom. They conduct polls all the time in the UK. The sample size in this poll is more than 3,000. And when you look at the responses given by the respondents, it completely aligns with what someone will tell you in the streets of many cities in Nigeria. This truly reflects the mind of an average Nigerian. They also ask people about their level of confidence in the Buhari administration. There's a lot more data that we won't be going into so that this video won't be unnecessarily long, but you can check their website for more details. Another interesting revelation in this poll is that majority of Nigerian voters view P2B favorably than others. His net favorability stands at plus 65%, while that of Bola Tinubu and Atiku Abubakar are in the negatives at minus 38% and minus 22% respectively. This is also a reality considering what is on ground. These polls reflect on what is happening in Nigerian cities. Look at this spontaneous early morning rally for P2B in Abo, Delta State. This is the home state of the vice presidential candidate of the PDP. The way people find P2B favorable is the same way 70% will feel excited and optimistic if he wins the presidential election. That's not true with Bola Tinubu, Atiku Abubakar, and Rabiu Kwankwaso. As you can see, their percentages. Fewer people will be dismayed and pessimistic if P2B wins the presidential election, unlike if Bola Tinubu wins. 56% of respondents will be dismayed. Likewise, Atiku Abubakar 51% and Kwankwaso at 37%. Many times, Nigerians have shown other parties their preference for P2B right to their faces. It happened to a senatorial candidate in the same Delta State where he came to campaign and people started singing Obi, Obi. It happened to Adams Oshomole in Benin City. It also happened to the PDP in Abuja, where they came to a market like P2B has been campaigning in many markets around the country. They tried to emulate that, but to their surprise, people started shouting Obi, Obi, and the Labour Party insignias and banners came out of nowhere. So these polls actually reflect what's on ground. It's obvious that there's widespread dissatisfaction with the current APC administration, which Tinubu has tried to dissociate himself from, and obviously the electorate are not buying it because it is coming late in the administration. If he had started 7 years ago, it might have been different. People are not happy with the way the APC administration is running the economy, which is reflected in this poll. That's why they are looking at a new person that's different from the two dominant parties. P2B is also hammering on that. He is someone that works with data and he's smart enough to know how to take advantage and draw more undecided voters to the Labour Party. When P2B tells people that they have voted for Umbrella and it got torn, and that they have voted for the broom and it swept them into poverty, that's a direct response to the feelings of the people. Also, the umbrella and the broom are the symbols of the two major parties for non-Nigerians who will be wondering. Yes, the use of data is immeasurably important, not just in the elections, but our national life. How do you measure your weaknesses and strength? How do you know where to invest to reap more benefits? How do you make a national budget without appropriate data? P2B is using data to his advantage while others seem to be relying on the old way of doing politics, thinking they can coerce people to vote for unpopular candidates. All that P2B is doing is not unnoticed by the international community. That's why he's been interviewed by CNN, BBC, France 24, and The Economist of London actually endorsed him. This newspaper compares him to Emmanuel Macron of France. You can see all the new endorsements for P2B that have been coming in the final week of the election, from the Nigerian Labour Congress to the Middle Belt Forum.
It is not about party. This time around, it's about candidates. So the Middle Belt people have been directed to vote for former Governor Peter Obi of the Labour Party for only the presidential election.
Another Middle Belt Forum headed by Theophilus Danjuma and many others. P2B once said in an interview that the UK will benefit from a Nigeria that has a production-based economy because of Brexit. Now that they are outside the EU, they need many trade agreements with other countries to make up with the ones that they've lost in the EU. We just hope it works. If you check one of our older videos where we made the case for the advantages that Nigeria has over China in terms of export of finished goods to the Western world, Nigeria's geographical location is actually the best in the world in terms of ocean freight. We are right in the middle. Shipping finished goods from Nigeria to Europe or America will be cheaper than China, which in some cases are double the distance. So imagine what Nigeria stands to achieve if we have a production-based economy. In fact, many Western countries will start to open factories in Nigeria as they are currently doing in Asian countries like Vietnam. It is quite possible that Nigeria will become the new China if we are able to get things right. Now, let's see the full results of this poll. The respondents were asked who they will vote for on the 25th of February 2023. By the way, all respondents have PVCs. 62% chose P2B of the Labour Party, 22% chose Bola Tinubu of APC, and 12% chose Atiku Abubakar of PDP. Rabiu Kwankwaso came fourth with 3%. So will the result of the presidential election look like this? Or will there be a runoff election? Whichever it is, make sure to subscribe to our channel now and enable notifications so that you can watch all the election results immediately they drop. One other thing that people don't consider in this election is that the Nigerian Treasury will take a hit if this election is conducted 2 times. Many people don't calculate that angle of saving money. For instance, if INEC has a budget of 10 billion naira for the presidential election logistics, and there is no outright winner in the first round, that means there will be a second round to determine the winner, and another 10 billion naira will be possibly spent. Think of all the good deeds that 10 billion naira would have been used for instead of spending it on another election. That's the patriotic angle. The political angle might not favor the frontrunner because the 2 major parties might team up against him. Anyway, the election is upon us. If you want to avoid all permutations, just come out on Saturday and cast your vote, no excuses. People should come out en masse like their life depends on it, so that you can push your candidate to win on the first ballot. If you remember in the other video where El Rufai inadvertently revealed that P2B is winning in their internal survey, yes, that survey is now public. Let's look at Lagos. They gave P2B 18%, not even 25%. Look at Atiku at 21%. When PDP guys are campaigning for P2B in Lagos, this is laughable. There's no credible poll that has predicted the Labour Party this low in Lagos. In fact, it is one of the states that the Labour Party might win. Kano is another funny one. No recognition of Kwankwaso in any way. He's classified under others, which means the 3% is not for Kwankwaso alone. Yes, Kwankwaso is the least popular among the 4 frontrunners. He's not going to win the election, but Kano is his home state and main base. He is expected to win Kano State. It's laughable that the survey gives 45% each to APC and PDP. Another one is Ekiti. This is not among the funny ones though. But if their survey gives Labour Party 33% in Ekiti, that means it must be closer to 50%. Yes, it might be a surprise to many that Labour Party is leading in Ekiti State in some polls. Ekiti State has the most professors per square kilometer in Nigeria, about 1 or 2 per family. Yes, they are that well educated. People that tend to choose Labour Party, according to many polls, are working class and educated people. That brings us to the Federal Capital Territory, where, as you know, have many working class and educated people. The survey is funny. APC didn't win the FCT in 2019, PDP did. What makes them think they will win it this time around when the economy is worse than it was in 2019? All the development indices are lower than it was in 2019. It's funny that APC is at 33%. Now to Plateau State, where P2P is very popular. Many polls have predicted that P2B will win Plateau State. He's expected to win the state, not come second. The truth is that APC guys don't want to accept that they are not popular. Many states where P2B is very popular, opposition gubernatorial candidates in these states do not campaign with pictures of Tinubu or Atiku. If they add pictures at all, that will be P2B's picture. This happens across party lines. P2B is sure of getting substantial votes in the home states of Atiku and Tinubu. On the other hand, Tinubu and Atiku are not sure of getting equal number of votes from Anambra or the larger southeast. Anyway, it's very obvious that people take this presidential election seriously. There will be a massive turnout. If you get to the polling unit, make sure to hang around after casting your vote so that they will declare the results before you leave. Congrats everyone in advance as we go into the election. Also subscribe to our channel and enable notification if you haven't, so as to be notified to watch all future videos and most importantly the election results. Thanks for watching.